As for this night, I've got not to do nothing. I have just to make sure that I am upon a straight path. No extra ibadah, no extra fasting, no extra qiyam. After Allah, he said, the hadith is to be authenticated by a number of scholars. One of them is our Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah. This is the hadith. Hadith from number of scholars, number of companions, whether it's Abu Hurairah or others. And that is in Sahih ibn Hibban, and this is a narration which is authentic. ينزل الله تبارك وتعالى ليلة النصف في شعبان إلى السماء الدنيا فيغفر لجميع خلقه إلا إنسان في قلبه شحناء أو مشرك بالله عز وجل. Allah Azza wa Jalla, the Almighty, blessed, sublime, He will descend down to the nearest heaven, on the midnight of Sha'baan, and He will forgive for all His creation, save two categories of people. Number one, the one who's got grudge and malice towards his brothers. And number two, the one who is making shirk, that is associating a deity with the Almighty Azza. So now let's just investigate this hadith. Number one, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Allah descends down. This descendance, ya ikhwani, is suitable to His Majesty. So we affirm the descendants, but we don't know how the descendance takes place. Descendants of ours requires for us to make a movement and to leave the space empty once we leave that space to something else. But the descendants of Allah is something we don't know how it is. But we understand the meaning of descendants. Descending is now ascending. This is ascending, it's descending. It's called descendants. But how the descendants, we don't know how Allah look like, so we don't know how the descendants look like. But we say it is suitable to His Majesty. That's it. We affirm the meaning, but we don't know the how, and we say it is suitable to Allah, absolving Allah from looking to be like anything of His creation. Then He says, to the nearest heaven. Okay? Allah does not need you to descend to the nearest heaven to do anything, but He Himself, Allah, He willed for Himself to descend down, to say something that this is important. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said to us that Allah the Almighty, in the last third of every night, He descends down. And that's the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Sahih Imam Muslim, ينزل الله تبارك وتعالى في الثلث الأخير من كل ليلة. In the last third of every night. On every night, the last third of the night, Allah Azza wa Jalla descends down. And descends suitable to His Majesty. So if it is the case, then what is the difference between the descendants in every night, in the last third of the night, and the descendants which is in the midnight of Sha'baan? The scholars, they said, this is a descendants again, plus this extra thing. As for the descendants of every night, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, He will ask, He will call unto His people. مَن يَسْأَلُنِي فَأُعْطِيَهُ مَن يَدْعُونِي فَأَسْتَجِيبَ لَهُ مَن يَسْتَغْفِرُنِي فَأَغْفِرَ لَهُ. Who asks me and I will grant it? Who supplicates and I will fulfill supplication? Who asks forgiveness and I will give him forgiveness? As for the midnight of Sha'baan, He will descend and He will not ask. He will forgive straight away. So there is no need for you to stay up. And that is what Allah said, وَبِالْأَسْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. And they seek in forgiveness during the time of Sahur. Sahur, which is the last third of the night. You don't need to be awake for that. So this night is just, I need to be making sure that I have got no belonging to the following two categories. Category number one, no malice, no grudge into my heart towards my brothers. So if you have a grudge towards the brother, if it's to do with dunya-wise, just settle it down before that night. If it is to do with deen-wise, make sure it's only for the deen. So you're boycotting him because of a bid'ah. That's boycotting, you keep it, no problem. Because that is for the sake of Allah. But I'm talking about dunya. He didn't smile to me, he had spat on my face, all of these things, you could settle that. And just a phone call. You're not expected to go and invite him, not expected to make a call and you hug him. You just give him salam alaikum wa rahmatullah, and you just give him a call, and that will settle. This is important, ya ikhwani. On the day when you're going to enter paradise, you will have no grudge whatsoever. وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِمْ مِنْ غِلٍّ إِخْوَانًا عَلَى سُرُرٍ مُتَقَابِلِينَ. We will remove all that grudge and malice in the heart so that they will be entered paradise and will be in couches face-facing one another. So the person, he is now encouraged to go ahead and clear his heart from his brothers. As for the second condition, which is the condition of, and that is the shirk in Allah Azza wa Jalla. Ibadallah, the shirk is an invalidator. It invalidates your deeds. وَلَقَدْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ وَإِلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ. Verily, it's been revealed to you, O Muhammad, and to the prophets before you. If you do shirk, then all your deeds will be invalidated. So your deeds will be invalidated. And that is to the Prophet of Allah. And the Prophet of Allah will not do the shirk, but Allah is addressing the Ummah through His Prophet. So make sure that you don't do shirk, whether it's minor or major, because this shirk, it will invalidate your deeds. If it's major, it will take you outside the fold of Islam. And if it's minor, it could be not forgiven. You're going to be punished and you're going to be thrown to hell because of that minor shirk. And you definitely will not be included in those whom Allah will forgive on that midnight of Sha'baan. As I said, no specific ibadah, no specific fasting, no specific night qiyam. Unfortunately, some of the people not far away from this masjid, you'll find them beautify their masjid with the ribbons and lights and flashlights and